Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. Welcome if you're new. I'm Stacy, and tonight we're going to start working on one of my larger mermaid pieces that I have mapped out. This is a, well, it was going to be a mock-up piece, but it's turning out to be maybe a finished piece. Sorry about the road noise. It is super warm out. It is currently 81 degrees in here right now. It was 89 degrees earlier, and that's hot. So the window's open now that it's cooled down. Get some cool air in here. So road noise is a big factor. But anyways, this is the idea was the Coral King, my Coral King losing his crown and his power due to a malevolent force. And apparently this is his foe, looking down upon the scene where he's realizing that he's losing his power to be king, basically. The crown is a part of him, like a physical part of him, and it has broken off and is falling off, is my thought pattern there. And then there are people about, well, merpeople. So at any rate, I'm going to start with, I'm on the fence, starting with inking it all in and then adding color on top, or I think I'm on the fence. I don't know what to do. I think maybe I'll put in the background over here and around him and get the throne in, like the base colors. Maybe we'll start with that. I have out my Pan Pastels to do a lot of the background parts. I have out these colors. This is ultramarine tint, ultramarine dark, Payne's gray, white. This one is chrome oxide green shade. I also have out my bright yellow green shade. These are the only two greens that I currently own. And I also have out this selection of colors in case I want to grab something. This row up here is metallics, and the rest of these are like more earthy and pastel colors. I have a weird selection of colors. Pan Pastels are on the list of things to buy this year, just not high on the list. These are the other colors that I have. Some are repeats. But yeah, so that's that. So I'm going to start with, I'm going to set the greens back over here and the blues up here. I'm going to start with the whites and this softer blue. Maybe we could get a piece of, yeah, this is scrap paper. Just sit here so that he doesn't get dirty, because I have plans for this. This section may end up being partly oil pastels. We'll see. We shall see. Actually, certain sections might end up being part oil pastel. But for the background right here, I'm going to use, oh, that fell on my salt. I'm going to use one of my sponges. I'm going to start in with the white, and where I want this to be pretty light, I am going to drop white on the page so that there is a glow, like a soft glow back here, is the idea. And this was all sketched in with my mechanical pencil. Love that thing. And my initial thought was to make this all a watercolor piece, because, you know, water, mermaids, mermen, merpeople. But This paper won't, this is just drawing paper. It's B drawing paper, big pack of it that I got at the craft store year before last. My boyfriend's mom got me a gift card, and I blew that sucker. Got all kinds of paper, big paper like this for pastel, and I haven't touched it, so I thought, why not try doing a mock-up piece and see how that turns out. I also have a 4x4 sheet on the wall over there that's going to be a large mer person piece. That's going to be my mer princess piece. Well, maybe not a princess. She's more of a villain, actually. I really need to write this story down. Alright, so you can see a little bit where the white is. I'm going to start dropping in a bit of this blue with a touch, just a touch of green in it. I want it to be glowy, but a little murky at the same time. And Pan Pastels blend really nicely together. Kind of create that soft blue glow back there. Trying not to get it on my mer person because we have plans. We have plans for you, my darling. How's that looking? Pretty glowy. Is the light high enough? I feel like my light needs to be different, but I didn't buy my other light yet, which is kind of frustrating. It's on the agenda. I'm gonna just really block this in here. Create some it's not really well, yeah, I guess it is. Creating a space, a world for them to be in. Yeah, to be observed being in. And I actually didn't think about that until I was well into the planning stages of the piece. Like, well, I know what character I want to create for the most part, and do I want to, what kind of atmosphere do I want them to be in? Basically, is how this all came about. And this is all kinds of different reference photos and drawing after drawing and sketch after sketch of the plan of action. I will try to time-lapse some of this. Real time, this piece is probably going to take a couple of days, working in different stages and phases. Give myself some time to really make it the way I want it to be. I guess we could extend this light blue out to the edges because I'm going to go over it. I don't want to fill the two of the paper completely with the darker colors to create depth and a feeling of being in a room or a cave. And with your Pan Pastels, mixing them together like this and throwing them down on the paper is perfectly fine. You could just rub the top of these off if they get contaminated. I've had these Pan Pastels for several years, and I use them fairly regularly for backgrounds and if I do a background that I don't particularly care for, I will soften it out with Pan Pastels and adjust it, because I tend to get carried away with watercolor sometimes, and my background ends up competing with my subject, which is not desirable sometimes. Put some more white here. Right through here. Coming down. I'm not digging that green now. Maybe later when we get more into the rocks, let's scooch him up. And I haven't decided what colors I want him to be, but I want him to be like prominent in the piece. You get down quite a lot of color pretty quickly with these pastels and a sponge, especially when you're working on a big piece. And these sponges are pretty good at getting, you know, going around your focal points or different elements that you don't want pastel on. If you're doing mixed media, you can also block in. These are my greens. Need to be over here. I'll just kind of muddy this out a bit, soften it along the edge where he is. Like that. And I have other pastels that I will probably come in with in the next few phases of the piece. I have, what do I have? I have Mungyo chalk pastels and oil pastels. They're really nice for an inexpensive but soft, like the oil ones are nice and soft and buttery, and they're not very expensive. I got the 72 count. I don't remember what I paid for them, but it was, for me, it was economical. It was a good choice. And then I have the Mungyo, the handmade ones, the little fat ones. I have a selection of those. And I have NuPastels. What else do I have over there? Oh, and my Soho pastels. To add to this, and I also have a small selection of pastel pencils. I wish they made a nice big selection of pastel pencils. If anyone knows, oh, my alarm. That's my go to bed alarm. I'm not going to bed right now. It's too hot. I'll be able to relax and go to sleep. But as I was saying, let's see, kind of coming alive a little bit. A nice selection of pastel pencils would be awesome. I like the control of the pencil over the top. Although the NuPastels are really hard, so they kind of work like a pencil. I think they're Prisma color? Yeah, Prisma color NuPastels. Okay, so that's the base blue. Go in with some of this ultramarine and create a little bit of form and the rocks in the background. I want to fade away at the top. Kind of like drawing clouds or making clouds, but yeah, under the water. Do a little more. Those base colors kind of help you with the blending and the softening. Really get in there and create some interesting textures and forms. And this is this blue that I'm using right now. Just little teensy touches on the sponge, and then blend it out. And if it gets too dark, you can put white on top and soften it. Mix right on the paper. So nice. A little bit more interest right there. That. Soft light coming in over there. Like that. And these rocks on this side will be a little darker because the light's coming in here this way, and this is more in front. How's that looking? A little messy so far. It's a little messy. This is what you call the ugly stage of your piece. You create some forms and shapes, and you block in all your colors, and you step back and you're like, oh dear, that looks terrible. It doesn't. Trust the process. Trust in the process. It will get better, I promise. We tend to jump the gun and stop here. I think we've ruined the piece. You haven't. Just keep working through it, and I'm right-handed, so that's not gonna work. Just keep pushing through. Don't stop. Maybe take a break. Come back to it tomorrow. Especially on a big piece like this, something involved. Come back to it tomorrow with fresh eyes and a cup of coffee or your favorite morning beverage, and work on it a little bit at a time in stages so that you're not overwhelmed. I tend to get lost in pieces like this and do a lot of work all at once, and then I take long breaks, like my big turtle piece that I did, which I love. I walked away from that for days and days and days. I redid it twice because I hated the first two attempts. Like, really, genuinely did not like the first two attempts at all. I mixed some green in here and kind of mix the green with that gray in this upper portion over here. Yeah. You guys even really see that upper corner? Yeah, you can. Some green in there. Blue. I think I'm just going to leave that for now like that. Yeah, I may go over it with... Ooh, startled me. I was listening to a book before I started this, and
wasn't my control.
It wants to play by itself.
Because if I continue, I can't go in with anything that will cause this.
Close. There we go. Sorry, guys. It's a different Mark II Faux series. But with the same character in a different. He got pulled into another dimension, I guess is what it is. It's an interesting storyline. I dig it. If you like apocalyptic storylines, and you have an Amazon, or not Amazon, Audible account, Mark Tufo is a good apocalyptic storyline writer, storyteller. And Sean Ronette, I like his voice, the narrator. I like the way he delivers the story a lot. Okay. It's coming. I'm completely not sure if I like this. Like, a lot. I'll just push through. I'm at a point where I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. This green right here is really bugging me though. Let's put some blue over the top of it. Kinda. Maybe it's a background rock back there, kind of hanging down. Like that. Shadow back here. I wonder, can I go over this with... I think I can go over this with ink. It's hard to tell. That there. It doesn't have to be exact either. I mean, these are rock formations. They can be, you know, pretty much any shape you want them to be. Because it's your art and you can do what you want. Maybe a little cleaner of a spot. That, yeah, dig it. putting some green in because I have green over there, and yeah, it's throwing me off a lot. And kind of mutes that background a little bit. That background wall of rocks back there that I want to convey. Yeah, okay. Rocks and stuff down here, we can get those in with see it coming alive? So it's coming. It's coming. You gotta build it up slow, not rush, right? I'm not worried about going over them a little bit because you can't erase as well. This looks like it got overworked right there. Might have erased too much. That's what I might have done. So this background that's not so well lit right here because we're, you know, more deeply inside the cave situation. Cave wall textures going on back here. Green in there as well. Okay. This part right here is very at the foreground and darker. I want it to feel like it's we're peeking through into this cave. Is the feel I want. So we're gonna get some dark going on over here. Payne's gray. A little bit of Payne's gray to kind of tone it down. Yeah, soften that like that. And then I'm going to scoop this up. Rocks right here. Fairy in the foreground, kind of silhouette-y. That silhouetted rock formation in the front here. And I may spray some workable fixative on this tomorrow. It's supposed to be super nice, so I can block in all this background color and get the kind of cave-like, which is actually surprisingly to me really looking pretty cool right now. Get some workable fixative on here so that I can put on some more layers without disturbing the underlayers too much. Paint spray, more of this darker green. Really play up how smooth and unimportant these rocks are. Well, we're past them, but we want them to be, I want them to be prominently forefront, like that. I think that works. I think that works, you guys. This is more forefront here and here, and then this is inside in the back. I think that's conveyed pretty well so far. Smooth shine right here. Maybe right there on that floor area. So that it reads as shiny and underneath. Like that. I do that. This is too much. That's a little better. Okay, yeah, alright. I feel like I should stop fussing with it, with the background part, and let it be. I want to get in the greens right here for the most part. And like I said, I'm probably going to time lapse a lot of this because this is, like, as you can tell, pretty time consuming. I even thought about possibly making this into a small series of mermaid, like how do I say this? Like this face, putting the background in would be one video, and then the next segment would be coming in and putting in the more detailed bits. And then if you guys are interested in that kind of breakdown in a video, like chunks instead of one big long video, or bits that are time-lapsed or jump cut, let me know in the comments below, because yeah, I'm willing to do that if that's what you guys would like. I also really enjoy doing the long videos where I don't talk a lot, but maybe I could put some music on in the background for you guys to listen to, or you could put your own music on to listen to and draw along. I like doing those kinds of videos. I also like watching those kinds of videos though too, so that also makes a difference, right? I like to have videos on in the background while I'm creating. Or while I'm working. I actually listen to a lot of, and you know, half watch a lot of videos and get a feel for them and then come back and watch them again later. If I feel like there's something I've missed or that I really wanted to see and hash out. Okay. How's that feeling? I'm digging it so far, like a lot. I must have got lotion or something on the paper right there. Because that looks like a fingerprint. Yeah. I'm really digging it so far. I'm feeling like... No, I'm not going to do that. I think I'm going to stick with pastels for the background. And I might go over... I don't know if you can put oil pastels on top of chalk. It seems problematic. What I could do is put my oils in on him where I want them to be. And then, I'm going to lift this up. See? Messy, 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 messy. Make a mess. Because I'd like him to be pretty prominent, and I'd like these guys to be pretty prominent, and the throne to be prominent, and then the rest to kind of be soft background atmosphere. Yeah, so that's what I'm going for. Alright, I'm going to stop for tonight, though, because, well, quite frankly, if I keep going without spraying fixative, and I can't spray fixative tonight, it's too late. I feel like I won't get enough layers down. And I need to think about how I want to go about putting, because I'm going to put oil pastels on the coral throne and each character and hem tomorrow. And then I might get out the chalk, the harder chalk pastels, to put in like details in the background. That's a good idea. See? It's all a process. Alright, I'm going to wash my hands and go take a shower because it's very warm all day today, and I feel like a cool shower is an appropriate response to a hot day. And I'm going to continue tomorrow, which will be moments for you guys, but you know, many hours for me. See you in a bit. Hi everyone, I'm back. It's the next day, and I have gotten out my Mungyo pastels. I also have some extra pastels in here. These are all the Mungyo ones, some Senneliers and some pencils that I've gotten in art boxes are in here as well, but it's mostly my Mungyos. I'm going to set this off to the side. You're not going to be able to see it because it's so big. It'll fit on the table. I also went ahead and got out my Prisma color NuPastels. This is the cover to the box. If you're interested, it is this set. I got them on Amazon a couple of years ago. I've had them for a while. I don't get them out much, but when I do, I use the white a lot, the cream. I've used the purples and this indigo-y color a lot. Yeah, so time to break them and make a mess. What I'm going to start with is some oil pastels in the areas where I really want the color to pop off the page intensely. And I'm thinking I would really like to put some color on him, but I think I'm going to do him last. Because I want to finish these colors first and then see. I'm either going to make him completely contrasting, or I'm going to make him kind of blend blues and greens and blend into the background. I don't know, we'll see. these, let's do, I want to do the, hold on, I need to pop up my example pictures of coral. I know I have some saved. I think on Unsplash. Yes, there we go. Okay. And it's just an array of different corals. I will try to link some of the different reference photos that I've pulled in the comments. If I don't link them in the video, hit me in the comments and I will go back and add them. I tend to forget those kinds of things. I'm going to go with, for the Coral King chair. Oh, I'm going to put water pastels on that as well. I'm going to start with pale pink. This, oh, my glass, that would be problematic. 1 second. Oh, nuts. Hold on. They were in my purse. I went to my mom's to visit her this afternoon. Sometimes she makes me read things. Well, she doesn't make me, but you know, mom things. This one is, I believe the colors are on here. Yeah, Rose Madder. And yeah. Just gonna smoosh it around because it's so far in the distance you're not gonna be able to see like super close up things, right? And I know there are solvents, and I actually have some that you can use. But I don't know if I want to use solvents. I usually just mix with blending stumps or my fingers. Uh-oh. Yeah, I don't want that. Blend a little bit here and there. Okay. I'm going to set the colors that we used. I don't want to put them back in the box. I'm going to set set this guy back up here, and I will set it up there. And then how's this? Medium rose pink, because I like the way they look together. And then it's kind of a white. Well, maybe not white. Let's do. I don't really want white. For blending, maybe. Maybe, we'll see. I'll do something. Kind of this one or this one? Probably incorporate both. This one is dark yellow. I need to, after I rip the paper off, I'll write down which ones I need. And orange number 2. Press down that pink. And put a little bit of darker pink. Some interest. And like I said earlier, I'm going to time lapse sections of this so that you guys are not bored to tears. I tend to get a little quiet when I'm like decision making and contemplating the next move. I like that. That looks nice. Okay. Bigger. So where are you going? You just that eraser there. So they want to roll. They're not completely leaving the page. Some of this yellow around. And it's picking up the graphite. That's where the gray is coming in. I don't mind it, but I wasn't expecting it. There we go. Just go in. Erase some of the graphite marks. So they're not so prominent. I'm picking up Mungyo Pastels. There. Hopefully that'll help. For blending. This paper doesn't really have much tooth. So I'm not going to be able to put down a lot of layers of oil pastel, which is fine. This is supposed to be a mock piece anyways, so that I can... What this originally was supposed to be, I don't know if I said it yet last night or not, was it's supposed to be like a practice piece to work out the kinks for my larger piece. I actually have a 4 foot by 4 foot sheet of paper that I wanted to do this on. I have 3 4 foot by 4 foot sheets of paper that I wanted to do big mermaid pieces on this year. So, okay, I'm going to leave that alone for now. And we're going to go back in and do some corally textures here and there. I think I'd like to incorporate some green as well. Where are you? Olive? More yellow. Yellow green. Looks like it might be a yellow green. May green, that's a good one. Leave the olive out to temper that. I'm kind of just pressing and wiggling a little bit to get it into the paper. Soften it a bit. Okay. I'm making a huge mess too. There we go. That's better. some of it darker brown for like underneath the coral. Maybe I'm going to smell blending stuff instead of my finger. Zoomed in maybe. I'm gonna zoom in just a skosh. Yeah. Let's see, can I scoop this up enough room? Yes. There we go. Okay. It looks like flowers instead of coral. The coral kind of does look like flowers, actually. Funky flowers, but flowers nonetheless. Okay, let's do. Let's see if it comes in. Hi everyone, this is voiceover Stacy. I am going to be chatting at you through the next half an hour about what's going on. I decided to speed this up quite a lot. I'm going to be, there we go, 550 times faster. It's magic. I really wanted to leave this full length and do it in segments, but it is 5 hours of footage and, well, more because I lost a little bit here and there, which I wanted to explain down the road when we get that far. Right now I'm trying to I am putting in the coral of the throne, and as I was watching this I was thinking I should have put coral in other parts of the cave as I was going, and now looking back, it would have, I don't know, looked a little more balanced, I guess. You guys can let me know what you think. But I'm basically tapping the page and leaving bits and chunks of oil pastel on the page, and then going over the tops with lighter shades and darker shades to give it some depth and interest. Using lots of different colors. I've got a couple of oranges, a couple of purples, a pink, a light pink and a dark pink, and then this, I don't remember what that one is, teal, I think it is, that teal blue. Just because it was looking a little too pink and orange, and I wanted to balance out that pink and orange with some green and blue in there too. And I think that helped quite a lot with how bright the chair was looking there for a hot minute. And then inside of the chair, I was trying to go for that inside of a shell, like that smooth inside of a shell look for the actual seat part. And I was trying for low stairs going up into the chair, but it looks more like it's just ridged or waved up into the chair, into the seat part. And there's some orange. I didn't like the orange, so I went back over it with a little more pink. And now I'm using a blending stump to soften out the textures in this area, because I didn't want it to be quite so textured in the seat area. And I, for the life of me, can't remember what these are called. it's just not going to come to me. If someone thinks of what they're called, the long green reed, well, they're not reeds, the greenery. I just wanted them there for added interest around the chair. I thought they were pretty in a bunch of different reference photos that I pulled together from Pinterest and Unsplash and Pixabay, and I pulled in so many elements to create this piece, different ideas and different textures, lots of different colors. I wasn't really meaning, ooh, sorry about that jump right there, for this to be a fully oil pastel piece at all. But while I was doing the piece and I got this piece, the chair section done, and I stopped on that after I did the chair and went to bed. The next day I was thinking, oh man, that chair, it is popping off that page. I hope it balances when I get all the other characters' colors on. And as you saw probably in the thumbnail, that it does. The colors do kind of balance, and it pops less off the page as its own little entity stuck in there. And I'm moving on here to the king. Chris and I talked about, I got stuck, and I didn't know what colors to make my characters. And the king, he was like, well, pull up like colors of royalty online. Just go to Google and see what kind of palettes pop up. I don't know why I didn't think of that. I do that all the time. So I did that, and I came up with this palette of purples and a pink, and there's a blue and kind of an orange. I should have gone lighter with the orange. And I put down this dark color first, and I should not have done that. I learned this later when I move on to the other merpeople. And here I am blending that dark color and softening it and hoping it'll give him form and lighten that deep dark purple a little bit. Put some of the lighter pink on there. Now I'm just pushing the color around with the blending stump. And it helps. I think it helps give him some softer form. But it was too dark. I kept thinking, it's too dark. It's so dark. I don't like how dark this is. How am I going to get this? How am I going to make it show that there's light glowing on his arm and the back of his head and his back from all that light glowing in from above and behind? So I just kept plugging along. I did stop and think a lot. There was lots of pausing and thinking, and if this was real time, you guys would be bored to tears, because there was lots of, wait a minute, I don't know, wait a minute, this doesn't look right. Here I have a deep ultramarine blue that I'm putting on top for shadows, hoping that it will make the upper parts of his body look more like they're in light. Yeah, generally if you make the shadows dark, the lighter parts look light, but I just kept muddying it up. And here I'm putting orange on, thinking, well, the orange will brighten it up a little bit. It didn't. It was too, the hues were too close together. And then here, a light yellow on top of that to make it look like, the top of there's light reflecting off the top of his head. And then back in with the dark color. I just kept going back and forth. I was so undecided. And I'm fairly new at oil pastels. I haven't created very many purely oil pastel pieces in my years of creating art. I have done several that I enjoy, but man, I was overthinking this. I was really overthinking this instead of just going with my gut. And that's usually when I'm creating art, the less I think about it and the more on instinct I go, the more pleased I am with how things turn out. And here I am layering on white on top of all those other colors to hopefully blend and soften and lend a little more form. And then I figured on the tail, I would start with white, lesson learned. Start with white, like oil painters do. They get that slick white foundation, and then put their colors on top of that. So I put the pink on, and then I blended it out with the white again, thinking that the darker textures that I want to put on top will lend it a little glow. And then I put on I just was very displeased the whole time I was doing this character. The king was, he was making me unhappy, man. I wanted his fins floating off his hips right there to be soft and look flowy. And I don't feel like I achieved that because the colors were too dark. And two, these chubby oil pastels, I honestly didn't think about cutting them to make a point, which now looking back, I could have done that. They don't really lend themselves to deep, teensy details. And I was struggling with that because I'm used to, my water pastels and ink, pens, and getting in there and getting my details the way I want them to be. And it just was not working out. Here I'm with that deep ultramarine, putting in shadows of the fins, trying to make it look like it's falling down onto the seabed and folding in on itself a bit. And I kind of liked how the blue looked on the tail as I was going. I thought, well, I'll put some here and create some shadow because he was kind of hanging over like that and bent. He would create shadow. And then I threw in that dark purple again, and I wasn't liking that again. I liked the textures, but then I thought, we're so far away, we're not going to see all the individual textures of the scales on his tail. That's just, we're not going to see it. So it's okay to blend it out a little bit and soften it. So that's what I'm doing here. And just picking and fussing and overall not thrilled with how he's turning out. But pushing through because I did at one point think maybe I should just stop. I don't really care for the throne and I'm really not caring for him. Maybe I should just trace this onto another sheet of paper and start over. Which is crazy. There, as I said earlier on in when I was putting in the chalk part, there are definitely phases when your piece is making you unhappy, especially a big piece. And you're going to really dislike where it's going or the phase that it's at, and maybe just plug through and see what happens. See how things happen. That blending stump I discovered, you can kind of lift up a little bit of the layers. So I lifted up a little bit of the layers and put on some more yellow and then white. It's not really white, it's more of a creamy yellow color, a pale yellow, to give him some glow. And I don't know why I kept going back and forth with this blue, putting it on and softening it out. And there I am, softening them out again, so getting more white on that tail to make it look more soft and floaty was the hope. And I think I'm done with him. Yeah, I don't touch him anymore. That's where he stays. I decided with her, the female warrior mermaid, to start with white from the get-go. I based her all in white. I erased some of the pencil marks because I wasn't really liking how they were bleeding through on the king while I was working with him. So I picked up some of the graphite with my kneaded eraser and then went in with white and then a soft yellow on top of that. Actually, it's kind of a bright yellow, but it looks really soft over the white. And I just blocked her all in white and then yellow. Wasn't really loving it. I don't like her form. I wish I had made her feel a little more like she's moving and not just kind of floating there. That aspect of her form bothers me, but overall, the overall piece I like. there are just little things now that I'm done, I would do differently in the future. Note to self, right? And this bright green, I don't know what I was thinking. I started putting it down and immediately disliked it against all the yellow was too bright. So I think I'm blending here. Yeah, I'm putting more down and kind of trying to blend it out with the yellow to make it softer and less intense. Yeah, the oil pastels chunk up a little bit as you're working, so I swept off the chunks so that I didn't push them into the page accidentally and where I didn't want them to be permanently. It just pushed in there. Then I'm using that same dark ultramarine blue that I used on the king for her shadows, and over the white and the yellow and the green, it looks like it's dark, like almost a deep green. I was liking how that part was going. And then I was thinking, well, she's going to be textured, so we can put in some texture and soften out some of these sharp edges that she seems to have. I wasn't really digging her sharp shoulder blades and all the angles. I really got carried away with this blue. I got a little carried away. I was trying to make it look like her fins, the way I have them drawn out, the ones around her hips kind of float out and look like a skirt, and the ones around her wrists also float out, and the ones around the back of her neck float out. And she can flare them if she needs to, was my thought pattern. And then I went over the blue with this bright green again to kind of try to blend and give her some form. I didn't want to go down too low because the rock at the base of her fin is in front of her. She's going to be behind that. Eventually. We'll get there. And also the blending stump pushes around the color and blends it in. And you can almost get back to the white of the paper if you need to. Yeah, here I go. I'm scraping off some of that green blue that I don't care for, how heavy it looks. And then I'm pushing what's left to create shadows where I need there to be shadows, because she's holding a staff in her arm across her back. And again, I'm lifting off some of the chunks of dark color to soften her out a bit and give her a little bit more form. I don't want to get too carried away here because that arm is in shadow. The light's not glowing on most of that arm. And I'm trying to blend this in a bit and then scrape some more of that texture out because I didn't really like the way it looked. And then, yeah, lost some footage, so you don't get to see me putting in the yellow guy in the back. He's teal and yellow, but I really like how he turned out. But I really love how this guy turned out. And by the time I got to this character, I knew what I was doing. I felt more comfortable with the pastels. I should have done more practice pieces before I just dove right into doing big pieces. Maybe I should have done a couple of flowers to get a feel for the flow, and maybe I've drawn a few fish. But I started with white with him and then went over, as you could see, over the top of the white with blue, this ultramarine blue, which I'm loving. I love this color. It's almost indigo, you guys. Indigo is my favorite blue. And I just love how he turned out. His colors, his form, how soft he looks, the way his fin looks. And his face, I had a little bit of trouble with his face once again because the pastels are so big. Getting any kind of detail in there so tiny was difficult. If anybody has any pro tips on how to do that, I would be forever grateful. But here I am blending in this blue and kind of softening out his form. Not too much though. I didn't want to blend him out completely because I like his textures. And then the face, I put more white on to kind of lift it back out because I lost the shape of his face. And then I think I wanted him to look puzzled and a little sad. And I think that's conveyed here with just those few smudgy marks. I feel like he does look slightly puzzled and a little sad. And then I decided, since I put purple in his face, I probably should put some elsewhere on him so that it, if you put a color in one spot, it tends to look like a mistake. But if you put it in several different areas, it'll carry through and look more purposeful, like it was a decision made. And it was a decision made, just, after the fact. A little bit of white to give him a little bit of glow, and then brushing off all the chunks again. And yeah, I just love how he turned out. I wasn't done with him. I put more white on him. Oh, because I wanted the light to glow. All that intense light coming into the cave, he should glow on his back. And I just think he's so dark. I didn't mean to get him quite so dark. But yeah, there's all the characters. And now I have out my Soho pastels. These are beautiful. I love them. I don't use my pastels enough, which is one of the reasons why I pulled them out for this piece, was to play with them. And I have this kind of soft blue. I didn't look at the color names. I think Soho's the one that doesn't have color names on the wrapper. Now I have to look. But I have the soft blue out. And yeah, I have the Soho Soft Pastel Half Stick 120 color set. And it's a lot of colors. You don't need this many colors. But it was affordable and I loved it. Let's see, this color... Yeah, the Soho ones don't have color names on the papers that are wrapped around them. Not that I'm seeing anyways. It might be so tiny I can't read it, which is, my eyes are old. Turned 51 this year. My eyes are tired, man. I really wanted to. We'll just stick it up there. Make the caves look like they're. This isn't really a cave. It's more of a crevice where the tops of the walls are closer together and they open up at the bottom, as you can see. But I wanted that layered look, that to make it look like it's brighter where the light's shining in, and then of course it'll get a little darker. The walls of the caves will get a little darker as you come forward. And I struggled with this a lot. I was unsure as to what colors to use and how to make it feel like a crevice with light glowing through from the top and sharply from that one angle into the characters. And I fussed and fussed and fussed and layered and fussed some more. I put down color and then I softened it with my finger because I'm thinking, yes, I want textures. No, I don't like those textures. I'm going to blend those out. And then I put in some, more textures, more of this softer blue to brighten things up, and then decided to move on to the cave walls that are closer to us. So we are actually looking into the cave from maybe a small hole or opening, and the light's not seeing our side as much. And I think it really helped to maybe not enclose the scene, but make it give it more depth. I put down this dark gray blue color, which is beautiful, over the top of my Pan Pastels. Those Pan Pastels are just gorgeous. They're so nice for getting down a soft layer of color and then working over the top I really enjoy my Pan Pastels. I'm desperate to buy more, but they're a little pricey. And I have so many other pastels, I don't really need them. I just deeply desire them. I'm trying to get in the feel of like rock walls, stone walls, and really moving from spot to spot and trying to create that overhead, that overhanging feeling, that feel of a rock hanging into and over you. I think I got it. I think I got it. And the dark on the outside of the page kind of frames the scene a little bit, which is nice. I just saw that. I've been looking at this piece sitting, it's on my drawing board on the couch over there for days, deciding how I was going to edit this over 5 hour excursion that I have going on. And deciding what elements I do and don't like. Here I am putting in different greens. I've got the dark green over the gray and then the lighter green over that, kind of next to it, to give the rocks, those rock surfaces, a little bit of character and depth, because yeah, I felt like I was having a hard time getting the message across in my brain. And that one was too detailed, and I decided to make it look like, well, fine, there's moss growing on the back of that one, or some sort of, greenery under the water. Does moss grow under the water? I'll have to look up that. I know that the rocks under the water will get that soft, floaty green growth on the top of them. It's really pretty and hair, like super soft to the touch. That's what I was thinking about when I was putting all the green on the rocky areas. There would be algae. It's kind of an algae type thing. I'm alright. My brain doesn't work right sometimes. And now I'm going in with like the edges of my fingers. I'm not blending. I'm kind of patting and pushing the color around because I don't want it all to blend together into one color, but I do want it to look cohesive. And yeah, I think it looks more rock-like after I get all done. I kind of get a little carried away in some spots, but we'll come back later and fix all that. And I was thinking about here, those layers, the deeper into the crevice we go, the darker the layers will be from where the light is shining. And this side will be darker than the other side because of the directionality of that glow. So I just had to keep that in mind as I was going with the rocks. And here I am. I really struggled with this other wall and the light color of it, and I didn't want to get too dark. I go ahead and get that blue and go over it all again. And then I push down to, I think I start with bed. Oh, there's that thumbprint that I was talking about earlier. I think I got lotion on the page. I decided to incorporate that and make it a rocky surface right there. So that's one of the rocks that kind of fell off the wall. It's fine. I remembered belatedly that with all that bright light shining through, there will be shadows. They will cast shadows because they're close to the seabed. So here I am putting in kind of a dark color, but don't worry, we blend it out. I get the blending wands that come with your Pan Pastels. These things are amazing. And see how softly blend your pastels out? So nice. And I get those shadows to look more like a soft glow than a stark, oh yeah, here's the shadow. And I thought, well, if they're shadowed, there's got to be shadow behind the chair, so we need to put that in. And the back of the cave, this part would be more the seabed would be a little bit darker here and there. Probably could have gotten a little darker on that right hand side, but oh, I spilled some of the white pastel onto the page. I had to tap it off. That's what that was. And I'm just blending out with a little bit of white and softening things a little bit. And then adding more glow in the background, thinking I could do it with the blending tool, but it was blending too much. I keep going for a little bit, but I discovered that it was just blending a little too softly, making it a little too soft. Cause yeah, I just wasn't really digging it. And I lost some of that back wall, that super light back wall of rock back there where the glow is. Yeah, and I wanted this little section of rock to look like it was floating up and growing up into the light, the little greens, the little bits of greenery. And I keep turning the blending wand because I'm checking to see what color I have on the back of it, because I haven't changed out the wand. It's the same one, and I'm using it in all the colors. I'm dragging some more white down because I feel like it's not glowing quite enough. And I got carried away up there and I made it really light, and I darkened that a little bit later. Trying to make it feel like the rocks are glowing, like the light's bouncing off of them with this tool, and I should have just stopped. And then I decided I didn't like the textures, so I blended those all out. Yep, there they go. And then I put a few more in. I couldn't make up my mind. I wanted this between the character and the scene happening, the nefarious dude up in the corner, looking down upon the king, his foe, the one he desires to thwart and take his power from. I wanted that transition to be more smooth, to be more cloud-like he's looking in through a pool of water or an orb of some sort. That was the thought pattern between that transition area. I struggled with it. I really struggled with that transition area. And here I've got out my Prismacolor NuPastels is what they are. They are a hard stick pastel, almost like a pencil. They're very, very firm. And you can get a lot of detail with these. You definitely want to use them last. You don't need to use them first at all. They'll fill up the tooth of your paper and rub down the texture of your paper and make it too smooth to take the softer pastels. So one of the few little things I know about pastel: start with your soft colors and then put your harder colors on top. Your firmer pastels go on top. And I'm looking to create a little bit of shadow and texture on the cave walls on this one side where the light is not glowing quite so brightly. And then decided that in between the green was a little too dark and blendy. So I put in some more of that bright turquoise. And then I decided they weren't quite bright enough, so I went over the top of the oil pastels with the hard pastels, and it worked out great. I was surprised that it worked as well as it did. I kind of scraped off some of the oil pastel and pushed it around and into the paper and down and around. And yeah, I got that soft, floaty effect that I was looking for with a little bit of glow on top. I almost forgot to do these ones in the bottom, in the front right there. And then a little bit of bounce light, a little cast shadowing from the surrounding, because water will, well, anything really will pull color from other areas into the shadows. And I don't know that's something that we pay close attention to in like everyday life, but I thought it was a nice touch right there to make the greens look like they were casting shadow across the chair and onto the other side. I got super carried away with this one area with this blue. I don't know what I was thinking. I really was not happy with the NuPastel. I went back over it with the Soho pastel to soften it out, and then I just decided to stop and leave it the way it was. I don't really care for that section, but I think I worked it out in a little while here. Thinking and really assessing. Decided to go in with some of that blue gray color, that dark blue gray, and make some bits of shadow on at the base of the wall where it meets the sandy bottom of the seabed. And I think I have a NuPastel right here, and I'm going in and hitting those rock walls and making like where they bump out. And once again, it's like drawing clouds. It's so fun. But I got that high glow on the edges that I was looking for to like really give it some oomph and interest. Yeah, see where it's bumping out, and the light would really bounce off the outermost tips of the wall surface there. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm really liking the NuPastels and how well they go down over the top of the softer pastels. And I did a little bit of brightening of those lines. I wasn't liking how the pastel was looking over the tops of those though. This area was bugging me a lot. I went over it with white. It was too light. I figure I'll go over it with white and I'll put some green on, and that'll make it look more like the sea out. Like it's bright, but it's the sea out in the distance. I'm really frustrated with this little section, so I went in with a little bit of darker blue and blended that in. Didn't like that. Went in with more blue. It was too dark, and then I thought, all right, well, too late. We already put it in one spot where I have to put it in other areas. And then up here, I was not digging how the rock walls kind of disappeared altogether with the glow. So I put a little more detailing in between the rays of light. Yeah, I picked and fussed too much with this and decided I wanted a little more, another like layer right there of rock wall. Thinking. I stopped to think. That's the finger wiggling is me thinking. What am I going to do next? That's the thought that's happening when I wiggle my fingers like that. Oh, I have out my Pan Pastels, and I went in with a very flesh tone because I knew in my head, I had decided, looking at my Pan Pastels, that I was going to try and make him look gold and bronze and possibly some greens and more of a metallic-y kind of look. Did not love this at all. But I was already putting it down, so I thought, all right, we'll just go with it. It was not pleasing to my eye at all. I wasn't digging it. And then his fin is flipped up behind him. And yeah, I'm wishing I hadn't gone with that effect either. That I would have like put a background like color or a suggestion of a room behind him. Something. But too late, went with it. Putting in some deep copper color over the top to get that fin in there. And I was thinking, do I want the fin to be dark or light? Do I want it to be darker behind him, or I couldn't decide, so I just kind of left it the same value for a little bit. I bounced back and forth a little bit. Put in more copper. I was really loving the copper color. I just was not loving this at all. Now that the piece is done. I'm not completely unhappy with it. But yeah, I'm changing. Oh, I decided while I had the gold out that I forgot about their weapons. Put some gold on her staff and the blade of his sword, I guess. He found it. They found their weapons. You know, humans, they drop stuff all the time in the ocean. So I decided to put some. Oh, I put in little fishies, but I sped up so fast you didn't even see it. I'm like the lightning. So those little divots are fishies. I really liked them so much. I was very pleased with how they looked. I thought about putting more colors in, more different colors of fish, but I didn't want to detract or look too, because there's so much going on already. I didn't want it to look too busy. And here I am moving on with oil pastels on top of the pan pastels. I thought maybe I could get that more metallic feel with the oil pastels. So I'm getting his scales in with a copper color and then going over the larger spots with a soft white. And then I lost footage. I lost so much footage here. A good hour or so of me putting in all those greens. A lot of the green on him is oil pastel, and then the background is all the green pan pastels that I have. I put it with the wand. And at this point, didn't really know what else to do to make this work, to make it feel like he's part of the piece, but not. Like he's looking in. I don't know. And then this transition area, I was not digging the transition area at all. So I'm trying to make it kind of look smoky and blendy, but not too blendy. I didn't want to detract from either element too much. Okay guys, I am finished with this piece. I feel like if I fuss with it anymore, I'm going to create mud in places where I don't want there to be. There's lots of textures, and there's lots of stuff going on. I don't normally do a piece so involved, and I'm wishing, I kind of wish I would have not included this guy in the piece, and I'd have made this a bigger scene on the page. But overall, I really, really like it. He is a combination of oil pastels and chalk pastels, pan pastels. So he's got some metallics in him. The chair and these reeds. The chair is oil pastels, and the reed, the green stuff is I forget what it's called. Is oil pastels and then chalk over the top, and then more oil on that. And then these guys are all oil pastel, all three of them. I did put a little bit of silver pan pastel, or gold rather, pan pastel on their weapons. The background here is all chalk, except for the little fish dudes. Those, oh no, those are my, those are pastel as well. They are my Prisma color NuPastel hard sticks rather than my Mungyo round sticks. Which, where are those? Oh, Soho. I have my Sohos at my small Soho pastels. So that's what I used. What all I used. I'm gonna do a little close up for you of the different corners. Like here's the upper top, and then coming down. We've got some fishies in there just for interest. And there's our characters. And the bottom corner. I like how the green on the rock surfaces looks kind of like moss-like. Like, yeah, I just dig it. And there's the throne. And then this is our evil guy or bad guy who is looking down upon the scene of the king losing his crown, and the people being confused and shocked at what's going on is basically what's happening right there. I got some little fishies going on in different areas. I was thinking about putting a turtle in somewhere, and I think there's just so much going on that we don't really need a turtle. Yeah, so I'm done with this. I'm not going to spray it with anything. I'm just going to put glassine over the top of it and put it away until I can take a picture of it and get it online. Yeah, so let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm very interested to know what your thoughts are, what you would do differently, if anything. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!